This is the B-side book reviews, and today this is one for the classic rock fan because we are looking at Steven Tyler's Does the Noise in My Head Bother You? Now, I did have an Aerosmith shirt I was going to wear, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I think my wife might have tossed it out. I don't know. Well, it was getting a little on the worn side, so I went with B.B. King instead. Everybody loves B.B. King. Okay, now if you're my age or somewhere about that age, you grew up listening to this guy on the radio. So, grab yourself some coffee or whatever you want to drink, and let's take a look at the life and times of the Screamin Demon, Steven Tyler. So, what name comes to mind when you hear the band Aerosmith? Now, here's a group that's been around for darn near 50 years. But, unless you're a dedicated fan, there's really only one guy who most of us can name. Okay, there's guitarist Joe Perry, of course, but for the most part, when we think of the iconic American rock band Aerosmith, we all think of the one and the only Steven Victor Tallarico, or better known as Steven Tyler, the Screamin Demon. And this is his story. Yes, in these pages, Steven takes us way back to the days when he was just a kid in the Bronx, but a kid who knew he was destined for greatness. Yes, he came out of his mother's womb screaming for more than just nipple and nurture. He was born to strut and fret his hour upon the stage, fill stadiums, do massive amounts of drugs, and sleep with 3 nubile groupies at a time. Ah, the 70s. Of course, before he gets to the stadium, gets to the groupies, gets to the drugs, he has to have the look. Now, this came from using the likes of Janis Joplin for fashion inspiration. Janis Joplin. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Now, he got this look down so well that his high school principal said, "Boy, you look like a girl." I just kind of wonder if he told Steven, "Hey, dude, you look like a lady." Okay. Janis Joplin wasn't the only person he used for inspiration. More than once or twice, our rock and roll hero tries to pass himself off as Mick Jagger's little brother. Mick Jagger's little brother. Okay, yeah, I can see that too. Mick Jagger's little brother. Now, being the son of a music teacher, Steven had a little of the music thing going on as a youngster already. And he mentioned that playing drums in a band was a good way to avoid getting beat up. Now, of course, if you're a guy dressing like Janis Joplin and living in the Bronx back in those days, you probably needed something going for you. Well, he got something going for him. And this happened when Joe Perry drives up in his brown MG and tells Steven that his band is playing at a place called The Barn, and Joe's smoking hot girlfriend will be there in the audience. And as the famous story goes, famous for Aerosmith fans anyway, Steven hears this band play the song Rattlesnake Shake, and the rest is rock and roll history. Yes, Aerosmith is born. Okay, actually they weren't Aerosmith quite yet. Not until drummer Joey Kramer comes up with that name. Now, Steven wanted to call them the Hookers because in his mind, playing in clubs felt a little like prostitution. So, major kudos to Joey there for that name, Aerosmith. Or they might have been called the Hookers. Hookers. Seriously? Hookers. Then comes the fine-tuning of the band. or the process of Steven basically creating Aerosmith, according to him. He harnesses Joe Perry's raw power, rode Joey Kramer until he became the greatest drummer in rock, wrote their hit songs, and who knows, maybe he discovered penicillin along the way. Then it's off to climb the mountain of rock and roll fame and fortune, not to mention snorting a mountain of coke during the climb. Yes, it's the same old story, same old song and dance. And this includes the struggle to become a star, then you are a star. Then you do tons of drugs while you are a star. Then you go to rehab. Then you fight with your band. Then you have band members leave. Yes, Joe Perry and the other guitar player, Brad Whitford, did leave the band for a while. And then it was get back together. Then you become rock stars again. Then you do more drugs. Then you go back to rehab. Yes, back in the saddle again. Yep, same old story, same old song and dance. Okay, I'm starting to understand all of these Aerosmith songs now. Oh yeah, especially the song Big 10 Inch. Now that song with about a 10-inch record, by the way. And all of these years, I thought it was about... Oh, never mind. Of course, it's not all fun and games being America's favorite Screamin Demon. Other than the exhausting job of trying to satisfy every hot little groupie that comes wandering into your motel room and snorting mountains of cocaine, there's a lot of issues of being a rock and roll star I never really considered. Now maybe those blisters on the guitar player's fingers heal overnight, but not so for our hero's vocal cords. Steven's like, do you think I can wail like that every night? Yes, the shows had to be scheduled every other night because the Screamin Demon needed a little healing. And then there's the feet issues. Have you ever seen Steven Tyler's feet? Wow. Yes, Mr. Tyler could have written an entire chapter entitled Agony of the Feet. Now he claimed this came from all those years of stomping around on the stage. I never thought about that. Walk this way? Not with those feet. The memoirs of an American rock icon? What's there not to enjoy? We get to live vicariously through Steven Tyler, and we learn a lot about the life of a rock star, the lows and the highs. Apparently, high as a kite most of the time. And then there's the lows. Have you ever thought about all the smoke on a stage every night screwing with your sinuses? And don't look for that secret hotel where the big rock stars are staying in your town, because they're not there. Mr. Tyler tells us how they stay in something called a hub city, and there they fly to your town just an hour or two before the show. I also learned you can snort Lunesta. And here I was just swallowing it like a real square. Now I was a bit disappointed that Steven kind of slighted us on the song Walk This Way. Sure, he talks about the song, but I wanted him to decipher every line of it for us. Just what is the true meaning and inspiration behind the words, you ain't seen nothing till you're down on the muffin. Now Steven really gets into his song and my personal Aerosmith favorite, Dream On, which he claims he wrote when he was a mere 17 years old. All these lines in my face getting clear? At 17? Just how many drugs was Steven taking in his teen years? Now he also mentions how Joe Perry never liked the song Dream On. Seriously? How can you not love that song? And all this discourse of this rock classic was actually the greatest revelation for me. Forget the stuff about Steven's screwed up feet, his drug issues, and his habit of pissing off his bandmates. My biggest eye-opening moment in this book was that I now know the words to Dream On. After hearing that song for years and years, I actually discovered that the words are "Sing with me, sing for the years." And all this time, I thought he was saying, "Sing women, sing for the years." That's what the words sound like. Listen to it! Listen to it! Oh gosh, I gotta go snort up a couple lines of Claritin. Sing with me. Sing with me? Now, unlike Springsteen's book, where Bruce gives us a college course on how rock and roll has changed America, Mr. Tyler pretty much keeps things simply to, this is my life, these are the things I did, the drugs I did, the women I did, and the people I pissed off while I was doing those things. You can figure out how music transformed the human race on your own. Now beware, because Stephen writes a bit like he talks. But that was kind of cool. And I swear some of those words he just made up. Now the part of this book that left me a little empty was the fact that Stephen is just so crazy about his own song lyrics that he fills up pages with them as reference points, which would be really cool if I knew Aerosmith songs like I know Springsteen or even Beatles songs. But I'm not that huge of an Aerosmith fan. Apparently not if I don't know the words to Dream On. Now I've only seen them play a couple of times, and actually I've only got 3 CDs by them. So trying to read all of these italicized lyrics just left me a bit dry. I've only got 3? I thought sure I had more than that. Now, I'm not sure how easy of a book this was to read for Stephen's bandmates, Joe Perry, and the other guys. Yes, playing with the same guys for 40 or 50 years tends to try on the patience. And more than once does Stephen refer to his bandmates by using the P word. Yes, the P word. The one that rhymes with tricks. And the F word, which really needs no explanation. The song Dream On tends to make a lot of sense here. Come on, guys! Sing with me! Sing for the laughter! Sing for the tears! And sing despite all those names I called you in my book. Come on, sing! Sing with me. Come on, sing, sing, sing. On a quick note, Stephen never mentioned Aerosmith's 1986 union with Run DMC on the song Walk This Way. Or maybe I dozed off if he did. These things tend to happen. Now, I always considered this little rock and rap partnership to be a bit of a rebirth for Aerosmith, but I don't think Stephen ever saw such as a rebirth, mainly because in his mind, the band was never dead. They were always walking this way. I wish he would at least have talked about the old music videos a little bit. After all, those 90 videos gave actress Alicia Silverstone a new career. It was a bit difficult not to be an Aerosmith fan after watching that little hottie in those videos. Whoa, talk about your sweet emotion. Amazing. So that was the memoirs of the Screamin Demon himself, Steven Tyler, rock god, rock icon, classic rock royalty, whatever you want to call him. Now, if you're a huge Aerosmith fan, you probably already read this book. But if you're like me, kind of, I don't know, middle of the road Aerosmith fan, it's still cool to read because let's face it, this guy has been around for a long time. A lot of us grew up listening to this guy's voice. So that's pretty cool. Now, as I said before, I've seen Aerosmith twice. Well, the first time was way back in the 90s. The cool thing about that concert, well, other than Aerosmith, were the people in the crowd. Let's see. Country star Leanne Rimes was there. The current quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys back in those days, Troy Aikman, was there. The fullback Daryl Johnston was there. Yes, the stars were out. Now, the next time I saw them, didn't see any big stars, but Cheap Trick was their opening act, and that was pretty cool. Okay, for the record, the members of Aerosmith: Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Joey Kramer, Brad Whitford, and Tom Hamilton. Now, there was a time when Brad and Joe kind of walked their own way to go dream on, and there was a couple of guys who replaced them. Steven does talk about that in the book. So if you want to learn more about that, read the book.